everybody. This is Colonel Steve Akley, and I'm here at my place, the ABV Barrel Shop in Arnold, Missouri, which is a St. Louis suburb. And we focus, of course, on single barrel whiskey, and would love for you to come in and try before you buy. That's our policy here. So all of our barrel picks are open and available to taste before you purchase them. And I think that's the fairest way to do it, particularly with how we focus our business. The fact that, you know, it's single barrels of whiskey brands that you might not know. We're bringing in a lot of craft. You haven't tasted them before. You know, taking a chance, a flyer on a bottle that might cost $50 or $75 or $100 or even more in some instances. You don't want to do that without tasting it first. That's why we always allow you to try it. So that's our place. Come by and see us, definitely for sure. We are a small business. I mean, we are almost the definition of a small business. There's just two of us that work here. So myself, and then I do have an employee named Darren. I've been focused on making sure that we create a career, even though we're a small business. It's not the easy thing to do. It actually is hard, but you know what? It is best to have, I think it makes for the best customer experience to have somebody who's invested in the business. So, you know, a person who is being treated, you know, fair and equitable and gets a decent salary, and we give full benefits, and he has retirement and a program where we do matching here at the ABV Barrel Shop. Also paid time off. You know, it's you got to have the work-life balance, and that's very important to me too. We many times we'll close the shop if it's around holidays and stuff like that. We close down early, like the day before a holiday and things. Holiday weekends, we have shortened hours and stuff like that, and we take the day before off, like Memorial Day or Labor Day. We're going to take the Sunday off and the Monday off, and then have shortened hours even on the Friday and Saturday leading up to it. So that's very important to me, and but also the fact that we are a small business, and this video today is about what does a small business want, and we'll get to that at the end here. Before we do that, I just want to make the case for that, and how we're different, and what is the value of going to and supporting small business. Because to put your hand out and say, hey, you need to support us because we're a small business, that's not right. So I want to make the case for that, and I get the downside of it. We're a small place. For instance, my shop here, 1,000 square feet. If you're going to go to the big box retailers, most of those are going to be 20, 25,000, 35,000. Who knows? They're going to be big retailers, some as big as the grocery store that you might shop in. They might be all dedicated to liquor. So we don't have the inventory that they have. Sometimes, pricing can be an issue. I don't think overall, I think we're competitive in terms of our pricing, but, the big guys have the ability to do certain things that we never would do and can't frankly do. Because number one, we don't make up on volume, and number two, we don't try to get in and sell you different items. We're trying to sell you what we've got, but the big guys can do things like their Jack Daniels, the big flagship whiskey. They know it's going to be one of their number one sellers. They'll make it where it's at cost plus 1 cent. You're actually losing money on that because most people pay with credit cards, and of course you got to pay those credit card fees. But that's not why they're doing it. They're not making it. They're not trying to be like, oh, we'll make this up on volume. We'll get enough of those pennies. We'll turn a profit. No, they're just looking to get you in the door, and then trying to, of course, sell you other things and trying to upsell you beyond just picking up that bottle. That's basically a lost leader for them. So we don't do those sort of things here. We don't have that sort of volume. We can't incent people to come in by losing money on certain items or things like that. Sometimes we'll have a clearance, and if something's not selling, we do have to take it at a loss, but that's not an intentional thing to get it. It's just we have space issues. We gotta obviously clean things out from time to time. So the other things, and that's on the downside. That's the things that the big guys may have an advantage over us. But on our side, on the small business, I think there are some key differentiators too, where we simply dominate it when it comes to comparing us versus a big box retailer. Number one, level of service. We know whiskey. We're whiskey fans. We have the ability to talk to you about the brands. Our store is so unique and different in that we know literally every bottle of whiskey that's in here. We know the people that own the brand. We know the people that have made the whiskey. We know their process. And those are going to be the kind of things that we talk about. If you truly want to hear the story of that particular brand, we're going to be able to discuss that and tell you about that. So that's certainly very different. We are going to have some unique selections because, again, we're fans of whiskey. We know what the good things that are out there. So we're gonna go within our distributors' portfolios to grab the things that we think are different and better than what our big time box stores might have. And then, of course, we're gonna work with distributors to bring unique things into the marketplace as well. So by having the contacts at the top of the organization, we can instruct them to work with a distributor to get that in. We know the ones that are willing to take on items. Of course, when you get to be so big in terms of a large distributor, you're going to be very choosy in what you choose. And because you haven't heard of a brand, you might not be willing to pick it up. The smaller kind of mid-sized brands that are a little bit more hungry are willing to take a chance on a brand they might not have heard of before you tell them about it. And that ends up being a key differentiator for us as well. We're bringing some of the best whiskey in the world in this place by having those sort of relationships at the distributor level as well. We also can create an inviting place. If you think about the big box stores, that's what they are. They're not meant to be inviting, warm, friendly when you walk in. You're not feeling like you're walking into someone's home or in their basement bar or something like that. That's not the case at all. They have a cookie cutter approach because they have to manage these businesses from afar. They have to know what the layout is and plan what's going to be on the shelves so they know that each of their stores is exactly the same. They can kind of do the planogram approach in putting everything together. We don't have that. You know how our stores lined up, how it feels on that particular day. As we consolidate barrels, we might shift things around and change things. Our store is always going to be ever evolving, and we're hopefully, as you pull open that door and take a look around, you're like, this is a cool place. If I owned a liquor store, this is the type of store I'd want, and that's what we do. So that's a big thing too, the fact that you could just feel comfortable in here. Of course, with any small business, you're putting money back into the community. You think about some of the big box brands that are on a national basis, they're not in your local community. I get it. The people that are employed there, they put those dollars back into the community, but those tend to be low-paying jobs. They're not paying full benefits like I do as an attempt to keep employees. I mean, in some cases, you work there part-time, you might not get any benefits. Whereas opposed to us, a full menu of benefits. And we are also, of course, paying salaries to that, to our employee, which is, again, we only have one at this time, but hopefully at some point we'll get to add another one here, and we'll pay into them too. But it's not just the salary of the employees, it's the money that I get too as an owner. That goes back into the community in which I live. Of course, we're invested in the community as well. We're trying to bring dollars into this community. It matters to us that you come and you shop here. And I think that's a big part of what we do because of our social media presence and the fact I've got another company that does podcasts and things like that. I was featured on the Bruzel video, of course, famously. That creates this interest that draws people into our community. So as we have success, we are having more success in our community as well. And that's a big deal for us. This is where I grew up, this area. I literally live 4 miles from the store here. And I grew up 6 miles from the store here. So my mom still lives in the house that I grew up in, which is 1.9 miles from my house. And that's where we live today. That's where she lives, just close to. So it's very important to us. And then, of course, in addition to being dedicated to communities and the financial growth, we're also dedicating to supporting the community. We do tastings and things like that for every school that requests it or every legitimate organization / charity that requests it. And we're talking about probably 50 or 60 events that we do a year that we do it with no charge. Because we want to support the local community, and that can be, schools and, sometimes it's Girl Scout, Boy Scout troops, you name it. Any sort of organization that comes in, we want to support them. And by doing whiskey tasting and if it's a school for the parents, whoever, does that we want to give them something that they can utilize to earn revenue for that organization. And then we bring it in and have some fun with the people of that organization and hope to recreate some goodwill for the organization as well by giving them a very good time here. So that's some of the things that we do. That's the case to why you would want to go with a small business over a big box retailer. And then what do we want out of this? What do we want? Do we want you to just come in and spend your money here because we're a small business? No, that's not the case at all. You know what we want? This is what a small business wants. This is what every small business wants. We want a chance. Come in here, open that door, come into this place, talk to us, see what we're about, give us that chance because that's all we're looking for. we feel like if we get the opportunity to talk to you and have you come into our place, you can sample our whiskey. You yourself need to see how we're different. And that's all, anything we would ever ask you for is the opportunity. So that's what a small business is looking for. That's what we're looking for. And thank you for listening to what I had to say today about that.